It all began with a call from the secretary. A summons to the mayor's office. Teeth and I discussed the summons. We were a bit concerned. That why are we being called? What have we done? We've been fire for season 1. Season 2 is even more fire. What have we done to deserve the summons? Saturday morning we get to the mayor's office. Lavish kitchens, luxurious lounge. The mayor simply tells us to get a bit of food, since he knows teeth are always chowing. We get to this nice spot, hood place. They call it Kota flavor. We place our order. We come back, and the hood politics begin. That's when this episode began. This is where we knew the day had begun. We were late, hungry, and man, the mayor was not happy. Welcome to season 2, aka the hood politics episode. Everything is on point. We are on theme. Ndarkie's always on theme. We were in the north the past season, drinking champagne mimosas. We coming back to the south. We're drinking what? Men's size Black Label. Carling Black Label. You look at an ad from Carling Black Label. It's mad niggas from the mines taking out a case out of water, putting it on their shoulder. This is not for sissies, niggas.
Ndarkie, getting too excited now. I think we gotta pull you back in pocket, man. It's good to have you back, man. To whoever is still listening out there, I'd like to apologize for that incredibly long. And I mean, what was going on there?
I am where it all began. I am in Midlands.
All right.
Welcome to season 2.
All right.
With your host, AKA, so many AKAs. You think I'm AKA, but I'm not. It's Salamanca, F1, Ndarkie. And his sidekick, this guy drives me around in the hood, you know. I always tell him to slow down. He's a bad driver, but what can I do? I'm creating employment. T-Swag, my chauffeur.
I teach swag here. I'm out here to all the ladies. I know the ladies check into this show to listen to my voice and to watch me. So it's good that, you know, Ndarkie, at least he's warmed things up. It's taken a lot longer than usual, but you also messed up the name. Where we got these kotas from was from Kasi Flavor, right? right. That's
it. That's an impressive intro, but technically you fell short. You get a 6 out of 10 for that.
Ndarkie always punches the facts up, but you know, Ndakie's always in the ballpark.
Alright. So what we do here, I'm basically just run you down to who we have. You know, who's hosting us today. Our guest, he is, you know, the acronym is the mayor. But what we do on the show, mayor, what we do on the show is that, you know, before each episode, we kind of, you know, we give the audience just a little background and, you know, who's sitting here and, you know, who's about to bless them with some information. The episode is called The Fine Art of Monetizing Street Culture. We've been known to change episode titles, but that's what it is for now. And yeah, let me just give a little background on who's sitting right here. So we've got the mayor. He was born in a prison in Tanzania. He'll clarify that story. But he's like Tupac out here. So, I mean, he's lived in East Rand. He's lived in Tembisa. He's lived in Dawn Park. He described himself as a videographer, an entrepreneur in the local retail sector, right? And he makes some innovative furniture for a living. But, you know, this is the mayor. He does some really special things when it comes to street culture. You know, he is, just to explain some of his accomplishment, he's the founder of RHTC online store. He's the man behind the Playground SA, an innovative retail furniture company for small businesses. This man has been on a TED Talk, you know, where Ndarkie dreams to be. His talk was democratize. Isn't it, guys? Democratizing capability. That's what's up. And also he's the man behind the Let's Play Outside festival, which is basically a beautiful experience that is going to do so many amazing things. He has a BA in humanities and political science. He's also the man behind the Mayor's podcast. We're going to touch on to that. I mean, this guy is, should I stop? Am I going too hard here? Do I keep going? This man has done some nice dope collaborations. I've seen him on some Puma things. I've seen him on some BlackBerry things, but that don't, he's really about the culture. Don't even be like confused by that, because he's really about like doing things for like the culture down here. He's the mayor. We are in his office. We've been summoned. We don't go to people's shows, but to people's places. But this time we were summoned by the mayor, and he's also the man behind the legendary Sneak Peek blogspot, which was some dope ass. But we got here Mr. Frypan Mfula.
What up?
Yo,
where did you get that info? You did your Googles, nah? Googles are confusing, man. Especially that first part. You said I was born where?
People's be snitching.
Tanzania.
No. The thing is, you know what? I do my research. So I know what's up with that. But I want you to explain it to Ndarkie, because I know what's up with that.
Oh yeah.
Because I do my research. But give Ndarkie the breakdown. Give the people here the breakdown.
I don't know who I was explaining that to. I was just trying to make shit interesting. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, I don't know. Where did you find that?
Okay.
Man, that was a long
Please
time ago.
Please explain your name, Frypan.
Frypan.
Where it comes from. And then related to Tanzania.
It's Frypan. Yo, man. Let me, it's two ways, right? So back then, it's pronounced Frypan.
No,
right? So back then, people like, I was explaining it earlier, is that the name is like, it's become a brand, right? I just put it on. No one gave me this name. It's like, normally Vele Mosekasi uzuthola my nickname from Vele Gas, but this one was like, I got my nickname from where I'm from, and my family's got their own nickname for me, But this one I gave it to myself, and I just put it on Facebook, and it caught fire because Frypan is like quirky, easy to remember. White folk like it because they don't have to concern themselves with like my real name. But it's a brand that goes throughout, and there can only be one Frypan, like with Frypan or Frypan in a boardroom, estradeni.
Sure.
If uzuthi Mpumelelo, like which one? But Frypan is like kono one.
Yeah.
So I've been able to spread like my good work.
Like the virus.
Yeah.
Like the coronavirus.
Something like that. So it's been able to, so it's worked for me. So what I used to do back then, I used to play around with that name. People ask me like, what does it mean? And for me, the simple and truthful answer was that I just put it on Facebook and it blew. But it's a boring story, you see.
Yeah.
So
I like the Tanzania story.
The Tanzania story. So I used to create stories. Sometimes I but other folk, I was like, yo, come up with some Tupac like stories, like I was born in a prison, on a Friday, and
yo,
and the fries for that, and no, I didn't say the fry pan. I used to say I born in the penitentiary.
Yeah.
Then my cousins flipped it and made it fry pan, and white people are like, I used to do that to white people though, only because they get some white guilt.
Sorry to even get. I saw you do it to this one black kid, and I thought that was hilarious because like you really went deep. Like he was like, yo, so what's the fry pan? And it was a cool kid. He was like interviewing you. He's like, he's really excited. Like, so explain what the fry pan is about. And this guy, like, he goes into like character. He's like, yo, man, no, man. I don't like explaining it because like, it's actually a deep story. So he tells him, no, he was actually born in a prison in Tanzania. His mother was a political what, and because so the fry pan is like, it's a real deep thing. thing, man. And pen actually stands for pen, which is a penitentiary. And then he just lets it hang. And that dude is like, he's just like, okay, cool, man. Yo, I get it. You know, it's like, you know, he it just took him completely off. And this nigga's like, nah, man, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I used to fuck people over for like a good 2 years, maybe 2013, 14. But it used to hit me. I used to love it doing to white people because there'd be a sense of white guilt.
Yeah.
And it's fucked up, but it's just the reality too. You know, I was like, yo, political activist. My mother's a political activist. I'm born in a penitentiary, so my cousins flipped the word from pan to fry pan.
Yeah.
And that's behind it. And it'd be like, room would be silent as fuck. Sometimes I'd leave it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wouldn't say I'm kidding. Just to fuck around with people that much, you know? But over time I was like, yeah, then I forgot that whole thing. But true story, Frypan means Friday. If you're from the East Rand, Foslo, Katora, I suppose.
Sure.
You know, Moti and Tonazobona Frypan, or so you rapper Frypan, as it's Friday, you know? Go anywhere else. People don't really know what it means, but they love it, you know? And for me, it attests to the spirit of, one, the East. The East got its own culture, it's vibrant. You know, if you don't want to hate on the East, or if you hate on the East but you like the name Frypan, it just shows that your shit is weird, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like the East is dope, and that's what I represent. And Frypan, it's become that, is that, you know, I'm not as in touch with the East Rand anymore, but my spirit like is from there.
Yeah.
Everything, the basis of what I know is from the East Rand. So it's like a young shout out to the East, but also to Elokshini, because Elizwa ligama Frypan yabo with Ailia. No me say New York, but Frypan and so on. So it's that, and I like it, you know. But over time, I've appreciated my real name. You know, maybe it's just growing up as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, right now, Mpumelelo is like the go-to introduction, and it's made more sense. I'm like, that name Mpumelelo, is dope, and it attests to everything I've done. You know, it's like it was called.
Yeah.
It was called when I was born, so right now that makes more sense than Frypan, but otherwise Frypan.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Salamanca went in the opposite direction.
You're still here. You're still on the show.
Salamanca has forsaken the government name. I have just done my driver license, renewed it, and it says Ndarkie, Salamanca.
That's what's up. We're big into those. We're big into keeping those names, my friend. We support that culture. We're really fans of that culture. Ndarkie, maybe you can just touch us down on the few pointers that we'll be hitting on the show, where we're looking at, as we said, the art of monetizing street culture.
So when we were discussing this issue, there are some topics that everyone is aware that they are. Let me not call them topics. Let me call them assets. Because street culture is an asset. It's something we know exists, but it's very hard to bottle it, box it up, put a sticker on it, and sell it for $9.99. There's a few people who can do that. There's a few people that actually concentrate on that product, the untouchable asset. Frypan is one of those people that has done so.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes, he's talking about the culture. Specifically street culture, specifically African street culture. Why is this topic so close to you, Frypan?
Firstly, I'm a Joburg born and bred kid, man. You know, so when you're born in Joburg, you know that your neighbor is probably Tsonga, front opposite was Soweto. But so primary culture has become something that's secondary in the urban space. Not to everybody, but you tend to embrace diversity more than your own culture per se, because you know you go to traditional spaces where there's a concentration of the same people from the same culture you feed from, whether from your neighbors or whatnot, you know. And therefore you have a good understanding of your culture. Even if you don't practice it at home, you did say earlier, next door, you're Christians, but next door,
Yeah. This
is
off air.
That's off air, right? Yeah. So you were grabbing culture from all over. But if it's concentrated and it's the same culture, you're going to have a deeper understanding. But when you're from Joburg and Kulelokshini, then at some point, like myself, you lived in Hillbrow, early 90s, I was just moving around, right?
Yeah.
I realized a few days ago that I've never lived in the same place for like more than 6 years throughout my life.
Yeah.
So I was grabbing something from everywhere. So street culture became a thing of, I'm learning from the ground, from everybody. And that is what is called street culture. But what street, and you said African street culture. So I'm learning from different African communities, African people. And what that forms my understanding of the world and my appreciation of my world. And therefore, even how I translate what I studied, my skills would be within that. And therefore, that for me is what street culture is. Street culture is the food we eat, the type of drinks, how we drink them, how we consume them, the clothes that you'd wear anywhere else in the world, but how we style it here. The talk, the conversation is Zulu Sasekoli as fun as the KZN or the Petersburg. You know what I mean? It's a mixture.
Sure.
And I'm that. I'm Xhosa by lineage, but by culture I'm not.
Sure.
You know, because I didn't grow up in that culture. And therefore, for me, that street culture starts with me and how I understand myself and my world. And then I have skills, really dope skills, and how I translate my skills is within street culture. And that's the basis of it, is that for me, when I talk about street culture, I talk about Joburg. And it's palatable anywhere in the world because Joburg has become the peak of urbanization and urban culture. So urban culture lives anywhere in the world. So that's when I was in Accra, I could relate to them because we're urban.
Sure.
And that street culture. LA, same. Why? Because we're urban on different levels, but it's street way.
Sure.
It's a common language. Kenya, wherever I am, street culture becomes that bond between people anywhere in the world.
Sure.
And I think that's the beauty of it, and it allows us to participate on a global conversation.
That's hard, bro.
For my white people out there, one of the key rules of street culture is that when you're drinking a quart, you share it with other people. Exactly. You drink from one quart.
Exactly.
And the key rule to drinking a quart is there's no backwashing.
Exactly.
Do not backwash when you're drinking a quart with some other niggas.
Exactly. That's what's up. That's true, man, and that's some real talk.
Yeah.
And look, man, Frypan, I think though, just before we delve a lot deeper into it, we thought that the way that we'd kind of approach certain touch points for this episode, we wanted to look at 4 different kind of things within how to be within just monetizing street culture and understanding what that is, and obviously understanding what you're about, because on this show we're about the bag as well. So we're about the creativity, but we're also about getting that bag, but doing it the right way.
Yeah.
So I'm just give you just a quick thing of like how the touch points we're gonna break down on, which the first thing we looked at was collaboration, which we think is a key thing that we'd like to touch on with you about.
Okay.
The elements of collaboration. Second one was about creating a local economy. What kind of what goes into that? What's your perspectives on that? Because I think it's a big kind of part of the conversation that you're driving. Third thing was we just wanted to touch a bit on the Mayor's podcast as well. Podcasting in South Africa, that innovation, that interesting project that you put out there. And the last was the politics of money and community. So, we'll try get around to all that over the next 45 minutes to an hour or so.
Dope.
So we take breaks. We're going to take our first break so that we get that check. Today's on Ndarkie's on his A game.
Moo. That's what that cow said when it died. It gave its life
to my flyness. Ndarkie. So, basically, bro, what's happening on the next episode? Work forever, bro.
What's up, guys? I'm Stando from Easy Equities. You may have seen me in Black Panther. Easy Equities, we're here chatting investments.
War against broke, we fight, no white flag.
Back.
Just good. Go, let's go. My shoes just snapped. Go, ha! Let's go.
Dude, some other sneakers. Welcome back. Talking about footwear. Frypan is a sneakerhead. I'm correct in saying this.
Yes and no.
So you're not correct.
I'm half correct.
Half correct.
Explain the no part. Because clearly this dude needs a new pair of sneakers. He's not doing well.
Sneakerheads, man, those are sneaker enthusiasts, you know. They go into it. So they about it. They collect. They travel. They wait in lines. I never did any of that. I just translated culture, street culture through shoes. Because the thing about Amadig is that they are that common denominator around different elements and different subcultures. Punk rock, nasekasi, for instance, Bakshama All Star, but they treat them differently. Banzuli All Star la clean.
Sure.
One way.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You gotta be about that.
Sure.
But a white kid who's into punk rock, I was shy ngolise, but also fresh. It's 10 days. I say right, mar lingolile. Same shoe, different understanding and different cultural code in the same shoe. So I used to use that to translate culture, social culture, through sneaker, hence my blog, sneakpeek.blogspot.com. When I was in varsity, it's me just understanding the world through sneakers and sharing that.
Top 5 legendary sneakers.
Where? Anywhere in the world?
Yes.
Anyway.
Converse All-Star.
White or leather? Cloth or leather?
Cloth.
That's
Definitely the lows.
Lows.
Yeah.
I've never owned lows, but lows are hard.
The
I
lows,
like the high tops.
the lows, man, because Nasilokshini, there's cultural code. LA, Crips and Bloods, different culture, different colorways. But Lishili, Nakona, punk rock, young tall.
So that's one?
Then I'd say Jordan 1s.
Jordan 1s.
Jordan 1s.
I've never owned a pair of Jordans.
You gotta experience them.
You can't afford them.
Hey son. So yeah, those are dope because of what they did for, you know, how they transcended from sports to like culture. There's this, I don't know what they called, but Belbis are mafutzek ikaslam. They're like, the silhouette is like an all-star, but they like nah, it's not Kayusta. Kayusta is like fucking rip-offs of, you know what I mean?
That was the best rip-off ever.
But those were crazy because they were like $80 in my hood. And for me, this is like personal.
Yeah.
So that was the most democratic sneaker.
Yeah.
If also at some point, you know, where the cheese boys, afuna, now.
Sure.
And for me, that created such a balance on the streets, and it was amazing. And I wanted them, but my parents are not about that life. You know. Damn. Okay. What?
Four. So now you're
that's
four.
three. It's three. What comes? I don't want to go. Puma suedes. Puma suedes. Two reasons, because you know
that's the first one I know.
the contribution to b-boy, like the primary element of hip hop. But waleta like us, so tina masibaya ama sneakers sithini eshintwana lezi ngagcokela ngani leli. Okay, valana nale program ngashaya isontweni ngishaya umnandini because it's a lean silhouette. Unlike the bulky silhouettes, they don't sell well in South Africa because tini staff sethu ukuthini ufuna ba smart, ufuna ushaya jean yakho straight cut, yangithola before ama skinny jean straight cut mara ufuna itekela imnandi. So Puma still sells well anywhere in the world, just based on the basics. They touch on basics coincidentally across the board, you know.
Which one is that? Is that the one with the shell toe?
Nah.
What's that one?
That's Adidas. Adidas is shell toe.
Okay.
It's suede. It's pretty much it's just a basic shoe, and it's suede. It's made out of suede. And yeah,
Ndarkie, you got impressive.
It's because of suede too. You see, suede, dog, is like one of those things where suede imnand in any color, and it's hard to maintain. But it's one of those shoes mongena ngalo, but ish, mama could die lihle sneak, koko akuthi lihle. Much that no kelo tie, so it's like you're winning across the board. Where else with Jordans? But then when in the streets they fuck with you get the falls, you get the
Yeah.
But nobody cares at home. Then the fourth one, it's see me, I'm a fan of beautiful sneakers, you see. And SB sneakers, skateboarding sneakers, they're beautiful because of the fabrication they use. It's normally suede, right? And the silhouette is perfect. It's like nicely cut. So for me, beautiful sneakers are skateboard sneakers. Now I love Dalama. Shit's ugly. Talking about like when Nike came into the fore and started contributing to skateboarding sneakers, those are the best sneakers. Janoskis are my all-time favorite sneakers. Suede silhouettes, they even take it to the next level. You know what I mean? From the stitching to the padding to the length of the sole. They're beautiful sneakers, and those is a sneaker ngathini anywhere I go shabantu ngaphakathi nomuntu omdala erenkini ne khona lapho ngishaya ichinoski khona ngene erenkini ayebo khala u-taxi driver ayilimnandi tek lakho mfanami yabo la angilibhobozile yabo. So that's the Chinoskis, man. I'm affiliated with Puma, but I gotta be fair and say Nike SBs, damn. They're amazing.
So that's your top 5.
That's it.
That's your top 5. All right.
When Salamanca was growing up, there was just one sneaker. The Nike Cortez.
Aish.
Yeah.
Classic.
Aish.
That's classic.
That's
a nice one.
Yeah. I mean, LA, that's uniform. Shay Cortez, LA. Oh, my nigga. You know what's up, And Lemzans, I think there was a phase where like early 2000s.
It was ruling.
Early 2000s, people had them. I didn't have the money. My parents didn't have the money to copy for me. But
neither did I.
I'll tell you this: I got the classic Cortez, not the commercial. I got the running silhouettes, the flat one.
Yeah.
And I like that because that's like pretty much the blueprint for
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Cortez was fair too. Cortez, because Cortez, even like I go into the history, but it's gonna take long. But it's an iconic shoe from a sports element, going into lifestyle too, and how social cultures translated it too. It's special, and it shows you which in when you make a good product, people are gonna take it and do whatever they wish to do with it, as long as it's good for what it is as a sports product. People are gonna take it. So I think anything to learn from the Cortez routine. Just make good product, whatever you do. The unfamiliar market will take it and own it.
It's hard.
I'd like to shout out to all the people's brands as well that unfortunately do not have a big part.
Oh, wait. I gotta do this, man. Top 5, it's gotta be top 6. The best shoe I've ever, my top 6, which is like the most important shoe, Batipatu.
Yeah.
I got to work with them like very early stages because I saw them online.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's growing in amazing ways around South Africa. And I got to work with them like their first few seasons and retailed their brand. And seeing their growth is amazing. And it's all about the brand. The product is dope. The product is perfect. It's mesh, silhouettes. That means it's breathable.
Yeah.
That means perfect for South African weather because spring, summer for like what?
That's
8
correct.
months of the year.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for that. So it's like it's a proper South African shoe.
Sure, it speaks for itself.
So I think that is gonna be the most important shoe in South Africa for the next couple of decades.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful, man. And what I actually like now is that you cut off Ndarkie. That's culture in this show. That's culture, man. Feel welcome at any point to cut off this guy. It's the audience feedback. They appreciate that. So that's dope, man. I really appreciate that. Keep up to that, man. I think though, I would, Frypan, just your knowledge of the game is actually quite intense, man. And to be real with you, I think the first time I ever met you, you might not remember it, but I remember it, man. I think you had a table in Braamfontein selling stuff, and you just had a table like by Lamunu in Braamfontein. You were like selling stuff. I don't know, with BlackBerry or some ish like that. And I remember I wanted to buy something from you, and then I was like, I'll buy it, and then I never came back and bought it. And then I don't know, I think the second time again, I ran and was like, oh man, I want that edge. And then I was like, nah, this nigga now probably thinks I'm that, that nigga masha. I said he's gonna come, he's gonna buy stuff. But like, obviously, man, just because of how the culture is around there, I've been able to see. And weirdly, I mean, I know a few people that but it's just like to see kind of your growth from then, and when you were doing the blog as well, I mean, you're doing a lot. You've got, maybe run us through these projects that you're just on. These like 3 main things that we highlighted, because for us, I think, and for people listening, it's interesting how you manage these things, and how you've grown from me. I don't know how you're doing it, but as I said, it's you were just like pushing merch like in Braam, and excuse me, then it kind of see you build it. Then there's the store. Then there's it's just like. Excuse me. This black label. What can I do, bro? But yeah, so maybe you can kind of just take us through just through that journey, and how you manage just these 3 main elements that we've touched on, that you businesses, we call it.
So the thing is, I mean, at the basis of it, I'm in the development space. To go into specifics, I could say youth culture and street culture, but it's development of a community, which is primarily youth, I mean. So, I'd say it's always been in me, in a way. When you're growing up, that, man, you watch certain documentaries and you resonate, and you watch certain books, and, you read certain books, or you watch certain documentaries, and you get moved, but you can't make sense of it. I used to watch really political documentaries, like CPC1, and that shit used to move me,
Yeah.
But I couldn't make sense of it because I had no reference of where I would play, because politics in South Africa, struggle politics, it's pretty struggle, then what? It's like your youth, man, just live, there's no struggle anymore. But then I went to applied at varsity. Initially I had to do economics. That was my first choice, but my maths sucked. So I thought, tingene would be just tingen, so that I can maneuver my way into economics. Then I did politics, and I did BICO. First semester we did Black Consciousness as part of one of the courses with politics, amongst other. And at that point I was like, I'm not moving from here. I don't know what to do with this, but this is me. This is definitely me. So what that did, I did, as you said, I did a BA degree, and I majored in international relations and politics. I did philosophy here and there, but that molded me into understanding the world better. Then after that, did politics at honors level. Pretty much wrote about hip hop the whole year.
Yeah.
They used to give us like coursework, write about feminism, and I'd take feminism and use hip hop as a reference. Maybe just take a song like How Many Licks Does It Take? Lil Kim, what's his name? Cisco. The flip. Cisco's on the chorus, Lil Kim is on the verse.
Yeah.
And Cisco say, how many licks does it take to satisfy you? Yeah. It's feminism at play within hip hop, Yeah. Then I get understanding. Then I'm like, after long Puma, I'm tired of academia, because the language is weird. I don't want to... It's not weird, it's just elitist in a way, and my English is not that good from an academic level, so I was struggling with that. But I only did well in academia at my honors level because I was writing about hip-hop. That's my best academic year. Then I was like, let me live my politics. And I'm in the streets. So I'm like, okay, let me go into retailing, because I heard of this thing called online shopping. So I started an online store, which was actually a blog that I changed the format.
Bro, you did some Soulja Boy-ish.
Yeah, because I know what it is, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Shopify was not that big then, so I went to Blogspot, manipulated babies on a template. You could order from what used to be a comment section. It was an order form now. Just switch up things, you know.
That's street.
I had to go to the market to sell physically, and I was selling local streetwear brands because I was already in the streets. I knew that the next big thing is local brands, right?
So just step back. You were selling. You were using basically a blog as an online store.
Yeah, that was it for like a year, you know. And because you gotta start.
That's dope.
You gotta start.
That's street
you know?
culture right there.
It's cheap.
That's street culture right there.
You know, just use what you have.
Yeah.
Then you Tulitafu at some market in the middle of Braam, because you know Braam is culture capital, but it wasn't evident at that point. This is like 2013.
Yeah.
And but Grove Market was that place where we met. So retail became that thing with, okay, I'm distributing local streetwear while everybody's thrifting, everybody's selling Chinese made accessories. They were selling better, to be honest.
Sure.
My shit was cooler, but it wasn't selling better.
Yeah.
But I knew what was next.
You just stuck out, man. You can't pinpoint it.
Even the presentation.
Yeah.
Everybody was just hanging this shit. I was like, fuck that. Put up my own cloth there. Yeah, well, because I'm from a retail background. I used to work at retail in high school. So I understand merchandising, sales, you know, and the long game. I understand it, you know. So I was a bit patient. And I got 2 degrees at that time, but I'm at a fucking market.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But I know the bigger picture. But through clothing, just like sneakers, there's cultural code. So you're able to, one, converse with people like yourself. So our relationship started about 7 years ago at that market.
Yeah.
But now look at what it's manifested to.
Yeah.
Same goes for everyone I know and respects my work and me right now. There's a seed planted back then.
Yeah.
So clothing became that tool, that modern day tool for me to be like a cultural sociologist in a way.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't really about the clothes. It was me learning about the so-called culture, right? The street urban culture. Then from then, the following year, I pushed it. Then I went on Shopify and I had a proper now. But right after I established that and I did that and I was ready to go and, you know, grow this thing.
This is RHTC.
This is
right?
RHTC, okay. The store. RHTC is an acronym for Returning Home to Create. Yeah. I can't really remember how I got to that, but you know, it has that not even political, but it's more of it is a political motivation to it and understanding to say this is a journey.
Pause.
And that's why it's returning. It's a continuous journey, and home is a destination that I'm here to make sense of, you know?
Kendrick had a line like that.
ROTC.
Yeah.
I was listening to a lot of Kendrick. ROTC, right on time conscience. That's how he flipped it. So I was listening to a lot of Kendrick. I think that had an influence on that too.
Yeah. You're impressive today, man. I thought this guy's dumb, doesn't know anything.
He's got it.
He knows sneakers. He knows Kendrick lines. I don't know this guy listens to real rap, bro.
He's got it. You're returning home, huh?
Yeah, returning home.
to create.
Yeah. So please continue. Yeah.
So it was that. So 2014, mid 2014, that's when I launched my now fancy online stores, trying to impress more brands, because I was like, because I was trying to get more brands, but they were not trying to mess with me for whatever reason. So I thought, if I can make this thing look nice, you know, make it like e-commerce,
sure,
but just improve, you know. They still were not really messing with me like that. Some did. But then Puma called me and they were like, yo man, we heard about you and we opening this store called Puma Select, which is there's only 2 in the world. One is in Cape Town. This is going to be the second one.
That store is beautiful, bro.
We need a manager for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope.
What?
Yeah, because I just launched my store. I was ready to go, man. I was ready to change the world with this. I believed in it, you know.
Yeah.
Then my girlfriend was like, "Nah, hear them out," which was dope, man. That's why you need a smart girl by your side.
Yeah.
Strong black woman.
Strong black woman.
I've been telling Teeth for 3 months. Get a strong black woman. He's just looking for big booty.
Yeah. Teeth and I had a conversation about that right now, actually. You know. So I gave them in my ear, and Yeah, it was good, man. And it was like I could take a break because I was like financially struggling, you know?
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, let's hear you out. And they were like, I don't know much about Puma, but I remember a few months back I went through the Puma store in Braamfontein, which was the only store at that time. And I was looking at it, I was like, everybody's going for Nike for obvious reasons. Everybody's trying to mess with Adidas because they had Area 3. But Puma wasn't doing anything active. And I was like, yo, if I do anything with brands actually, I want to go for Puma.
Yeah.
Because nobody has touched that. I don't feel like everybody has touched it. They were messing with Abu Zab, but those guys were like, you know, in the 30s, then they were starting to bore the streets, you know. They were not that it's like they're not active. But I was like, yo, I do something here because I kind of messed with Nike. There was an office, a few people know it because Prefontaine, BBC Prefontaine is like Prefontaine is one of the first athletes with Nike, but the office was named after him. I used to like carry boxes and sort out their influence. Now it's called influence, but it was called the seeding store room where sneakers that are gonna drop in like a month or 2 or 3 were there.
Yeah.
And MK Fresh used to work for Nike. He used to call me and was like, come sort out the storeroom. So I used to be like in the storeroom the whole day sorting things out of things that are gonna drop in 3 months. Nobody knew about the shit. I was there sorting it out.
That's
style
hard.
coding, asking questions, and learning about marketing.
Yeah.
Then Puma comes in. I become the first manager of Puma Select store, Braamfontein,
Puma Select
Johannesburg.
was hard, bro.
It was hard. It was a cultural space more than anything, and they gave me an opportunity to translate culture. So that means, for the first time, sneakers that are dropping everywhere in the world, they were dropping there on the same day. But we had to have a translation that made sense to the space.
Yeah.
So I had to organize events, people who are gonna translate the collabs even further. So these were international collabs. This was a collab store. Everything was there. It's collabs with your street artists from LA, Europe, over Asia. But I had to make it make sense to South Africa and Johannesburg. So what that means, if there's a collab with Sophia Chang, who's an illustrator, I would get Grime Town, which is a collective that has illustrators, to further translate it and bring it to home. So that gave me a chance to put on my homies and people I know and come up with different themes. They gave me that reign to do that.
Yeah.
So that taught me how to organize activations, organize collaborations, organize events. Then 7 months later, I resigned because I you know, I'm gonna finish this right now. Just to connect the dots. That was like the basis of me going out, and that's when I opened my own store in Braamfontein, and that's where a physical space.
Yeah,
it's called the RHTC Playground Store, and there was the Frypan that people know and appreciate today.
Yeah,
that was the beginning phase of me like getting all of what I've learned out.
Just to go back to Puma. When Puma opened the store, they also acquired another building across the street and opened up the Puma Social Club.
So
that was before
the
that.
Puma Social Club was before Puma Select, right? So
Ndarkie's not on the street, don't worry.
But that shit was legendary. I mean,
so
Puma Social is like, yo man, we can never get anything like that. And it was like
they need to do that again.
No, they can't.
Yeah, you're
It'll
right.
never work. That thing was, you know, when there's a synergy.
Yeah.
With the energy of the city, the time, the people.
Yeah.
It was like, let me explain it this way.
That was
for the first time in Braam, people lined up to go into a venue. It has never happened. It's normal now.
Yeah.
Great day in kitcheners, whatever.
Yeah.
But people used to line up on 7, make me line.
Yeah.
Because you had to get there at 6, right? And what made sense is that they were nurturing up and coming, but the up and coming were now on the brink of commercial. Okay, Malum Cool Cat.
Yeah.
Before that, it was like our own thing.
Yeah.
You know, where he's like, people are like, I let you work.
Yeah.
People are rapping. People are rapping in English. Even his Venek rap didn't make sense to quite two niggas.
Sure.
He was left off field in J. We knew it because we knew what was next. Because he got that, and he had the merchandise.
Yeah.
He had the dances, which were alternative.
Yeah.
He was off center.
Yeah.
And we were that, but we knew what was next. And when Puma Social came through, it was right in the sweet spot of the brink of them accepting the commercial space, accepting all those people from rock, from punk rock to the sound labo, which is Babizan. Which Babizan? Something what's it called? Forgot it. New Age Quiet or something like that, you know. But man, there was like a switch up in the city, in the mood, in the people. And Puma Social became a facilitator for that. And that's why just the mood, that you just had to be there.
Bro.
You just had to be there. And I didn't work with Puma at that point, but damn.
Bro, my one memory from Puma Social, cause we're gonna now we're gonna go to break, but
You gotta put it out.
I played table tennis with Tandis on Mazai, and we just like got to kick it. And that was like, cause we wanted pictures with her, and she was like, "Nah, don't take pictures. I'll just play some table tennis and let's hang out. That's what I can do with you guys." And I was like,
there was no VIP.
There was none of that.
There was no VIP. Sisonke, Sajava Sisonke.
It was beautiful, man.
I think at a certain point, were there free drinks? Or if you had like some tag. But we used to hustle those tags and get them free drinks. But my thing is like, those people, man, that place was so dope because it was one of the most democratic spaces.
Uzongena.
The first time the Dark One went to Puma Social Club, it was 2:00 in the afternoon. I walked in there, everyone was wearing white. This was an all-white party, blazing at 2:00 in the afternoon.
No one attended that. Let's go to
that was a secret society shit. Yeah, no, that one was another one, that one.
A show that shows you're never too old to be stupid and never too young to leech. How broke can you go? He's 35 and has a job. She's 21 and loves expensive things. Would you spend? It's desperation taken to a whole new level when stingy guy tries to be a big spender. How broke can you go?
I'm broke, nigga! I'm broke!
Only on Hippies TV, brought to you by the We Don't Care What You Watch As Long As You Watch Association.
So, when we're back, I would like to get into this area where you have lived very well and successfully so. Collaboration. You've collaborated with many people, many great institutions. If you were to advise an artist out there listening to the podcast, how does one collaborate well with institutions and people?
At the center, collaboration is a very human thing, you know. Necessarily, but you're always at school, but you don't have to go to an institution to learn how to do it. One is to do your homework. You must learn. You must listen more, and you must understand and be able to translate things. See, when I take it to my Wits days, BA degree, you read and write most of the time, which means it's topic, translate the topic, do research on the topic, write about it, and add to your understanding and value in a very simplified way, an artistic way. It's encouraged to have artistic, creative writing. So what that means is that you start by understanding the problem. Then you do more work in researching about the problem, then finding a solution, then adding your creative input into it. So that's the format I grew up on or was trained on. But at the center of it, as I said, it's a very human thing. Those who listen well make better facilitators and leaders when there's an opportunity. But you gotta listen well. And as soon as you stop listening well, things don't go well. And I want to make it a bit deeper than that on a human level. Kind of wanna sometimes, when Zintomara, it's right, the timing is right, everything looks right, but it doesn't translate into something productive, successful. Sometimes it's because it's not aligned with you and where you're supposed to go, because you're not listening to yourself. you know. Teeth, man, just like, you know, when you listen to your mind tells you one thing, but when your mind doesn't like communicate or listen to your soul, you go off center from where you meant to go. Things make sense, but they're not successful. But you listen to yourself more, and you start fulfilling your passion, your true passion and your true calling. You know, that's why much ita aspanayo. Sometimes they don't see themselves in their job, you know, and sometimes how much ita hustler, they don't see themselves in that hustle. They want to do something, you know. There's that clash, because you start listening to your soul, and your soul is relentless. You know, you can get the money, but your soul is relentless. It's go the other way. So it starts with like, you know, first listening to that, then that translates. That doesn't necessarily say kwamele ungaspani. You know, you must understand that everything that is here today, it's mere tools that you can use for different callings, for different agendas. You know, like streetwear, as you said, is a tool. There's always something that's going to be new and more urban with different ages. Paintings, murals about Michelangelo they once were used as certain tools, and they were fulfilling different agendas using the same visual language that we still use today. So these things are mere tools. Our careers are mere tools. The products we use, not mere, but them tools towards fulfilling a bigger passion. So to summarize all of this is that to go into collaboration, firstly it starts with you. Collaborate with yourself to understand what's your aim and calling. Then you get a tool, a canvas. It can be entrepreneurship. It can be a certain department at your workplace. It could be a certain movement. It could live in whichever form, in whichever product. Then you start listening well, doing your research, doing your homework, in a very humble way too. You know, don't try not be arrogant, and then it manifests in a good product, because you will be serving yourself as a vessel. As soon as those things are aligned, it's not because of your mind, it's not because of you and being intelligent. It's just the process of collaboration starts with you, and you have to take it all the way to an actual project, an actual tangible. So I think what I listed is that.
One thing that Finance for Hippies wants to make a great collaboration with is money. The bag. We want to do a great collaboration with us and our respective banks. How do you advise someone to make sure that he gets, you know, sometimes I know in the art field, the bag is not number one. You know, I found that work in the art field is number one. The product is number one, and the bag comes in a bit later. But at the end of the day, people have to live, you know. You cannot be doing 7 collaborations and they're not working out economically. How do you ensure that the bag works out in a collaboration?
Oh shit, I'm trying to figure that out myself. But one thing's for sure, man, you need money. And it's your responsibility to make good product in as much as it is to make money, because what's a good product if it's not funded well to get the best resources? Eventually, maybe not the start, as you said. Just use what you have when you start, Tangish. But of course, if you want to improve the product, service, or your skills, you need energy. So I look at money as energy, right? And for me, it's like, you need energy to move. You got the vehicle, you've built the vehicle, but you need the energy. So it goes how you treat it and your relationship with it. So my barber's a motherfucking genius in a way, because he, talk to your barber. My barber's from...
Bro, that's some financial advice to anyone. Talk to your barber. Those dudes are legit. Like, if you got a barber, if you got a dude who cuts your hair, those dudes are some of the smartest people you can find.
Talk to everyone.
Yeah.
Talk to everyone. Don't speak to them when you're buying from them. Talk to them.
Sorry, but yeah, your train of thought. You were
Yeah,
talking
but
about
that's also important to making money. Talk to people so you can realize problems, actual problems that you can solve with what you have. Sometimes unokubaya ama-fruits, but do you know ukuthi lo muntu obhayisa ama-fruits inkinga zakhe is a business? Zime kanjani?
Yeah.
Do you know that podcasting could be a vehicle? But if you talk to the dude, you actually realize, that dude can be like, yo, man, again, I'm trying to talk to more people because this is not really my market. I'm trying to go to people like you at your office space. How do I talk to them? And you're like, what? But you're here in the streets. But my point is, if you talk to people, if you engage with society, you'll get solutions to what is not seen as a problem right now. And that's how you can expand your bank. Because right now what we do, we follow the same format, which is cool because we work on a template when we start. But the thing is right now, okay, this guy did this podcast, sold it to this financial institution, and they got a retainer for 6 months to a year to run a whole project based on podcast, da. And I'm like, we're all going for that format. Where else? Sometimes that's a foreign format. Sometimes it's just the basic format, and we need to expand the problem-solving space and profit share within that, So for me, it's like, yo, man, it's always dope when you are small and you're solving problems that are not being solved by million or well-resourced companies yet, because you are growing with this potential market and problem, because now sometimes we go for those products and services that are already being solved by multi-millionaire companies right now, which sometimes works, but my thing is like, he solved another problem which goes beyond shoes, which is identity within shoes, by virtue of the name, and that's the heart of the brand. And for me, that's the thing as well. He didn't say I want to do a sports brand. Was it Nike zokudabula?
Yeah.
Matrix Nike and swim and the technology.
Yeah.
So we see this guy, you know what I mean? So that's the one thing. It's like, yo, we need to engage with our society truthfully. I want to say something right now, but it's an idea, man. I can't let it go, man.
Say it.
Shit. No, I'm still gonna figure it out. I gotta be disciplined with this one.
All right.
But my point is, say for instance, Mingse Stadium, ngibukeli Chiefs ne Pirates. Young Itebi.
Chiefs won, by the way.
Shout
out to Kaizer Chiefs. Yeah.
Kaizer Chiefs. It did.
The stadium fight global. Our cameraman has got issues.
I'm fans with Chiefs. I'm win it.
Yeah.
I'd say 80% of the fans that were there were Chiefs fans.
Exactly.
And it's the 50th anniversary, so they gotta take the derby. They can lose everything, but the derby they gotta.
Special year for Kaizer Chiefs.
So yeah, I say shout out to them.
They gave it to them just like
I'm
So you said you're watching the amazing, beautiful Kaizer Chiefs fans.
Oh yeah, before I got to that amazing aura and the stadium
Sure.
South Africa stadium. So it's late. Slate to say RHTC Marame, you had important things to do. Bangland, it's figure so fig. It's jam packed. Young tour is like bumper to bump. Shimoto, when you choose to fly near as we land, I think it's shining now over 40 minutes. It's figure 30 minutes a game. When I want to smash la paya, about driver my pass. Bayibonanga igame mfana. Akutshela manje bayibonanga igame. Khona abantu mfethu shoot manje khona culture abantu ba late the stadium, but they eventually don't get there, but they're going to listen to it on the radio and start drinking. That's a market.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to use it. Do you want to keep them stale there and give them some sort of service or product? Because baphetha amabhizi handle nangazi bawathole maybe bawathenge before bafika. But young twelve, do you want to service that in some sort of way? Do you want to create bicycles so that where there's a parking cycle culture. Do you want to maybe do tours? I was a Soweto, gabanta maponi, shanga maponi, bangene stadium, waloki, Puma, wabambi pass, manje bazobushaya nokubushaya yabo. Bese wona ubuyisa bicycle. But all I'm saying is, yabona when you engage, when you buy a game, ngiyabona la khona inyuko. Otherwise, stadium, how can I make money? Ish, masingahlanganisa nale brands, activation lana, which is still a thing, but it's like, it's hard, man.
Yeah.
It's harder because lapha by silly apps, I stayed exclusivity lapha.
Yeah.
Yangithola. So but there's ways around other problems that you need to, when you engage with your community, engage with your space, you're able to see with and those are scalable business.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is the collaboration you're most proud of that you've done in your career thus far?
Proud of. So there's bigger collaborations, right? But the biggest one, or the most meaningful one.
Yeah.
The most meaningful one is how in 2016, we went on a tour using RHTC. We called it the Let's Play Outside tour. And what we did, we brought a couple of brands and we started traveling from different cities that had showed potential. So if my online store said it's booking, there is a lot of visits on site and there's a lot of cards or neglected cards and or purchases. I would go there because I want to fulfill those cards. Maybe untwana ubhaziseke ku check out lapho sekabona ukuthi kufuneka credit card or card DLTs. Mara ngiyakuye ke manje. I'm doing a tour and I'm going there right now. So we hit booking, say East Rand 4 slow, sashaya i2 la Soweto, saya iDurban, saphelele iDurban. But we shot a documentary with that. And the Durban one was the bigger one because I invited all the brands. Even brands outside, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody scored, somebody creative beings, swank, abukinelwe, they're doing heavy influencer stuff right now. Abukinelwe, I don't know if you know them, but they had a brand. Damn, I forgot it. I'm trying to remember it, but they had a brand as well. You know, these two ladies, and they went on tour with us. So organize taxi in a trailer, our own furniture we made when we started making furniture, before we started making it a company. But Mrs. Enzela, like mobile furniture that you put together as a puzzle.
A whole independent.
Yeah. But, you know, I'm working with brands, I'm putting on my own money, but I know that the whole big picture, you know, you gotta have the crew. You gotta have the furniture, which is also packable, because I've been in the market space. Puzzle, it needs to be mobile, it needs to be multifunctional, rails, shelves. I got the formula.
Yeah.
You know, I needed music, so I eventually needed to have musicians on the tour, but we start with streetwear brands and we start with furniture as well. Then we hit it when we go to shows. That's the musical space that fulfills that. These are tenets of culture being brought together, you know, because I got it. I understand the formula. So we do the tour. We go to Durban. We shoot a documentary. This is the visual part of it. We shoot a documentary corner goes, and we're gonna go to the same communities and we're gonna screen this tour. So Lani Cafe is booking. There's a space but bicycle, and I'm a pizza, Shama Pizza's booking. Hey, these niggas are wild, dog. Shama Pizza's booking. So it was alternative. It's our friends, you know. So we go back to those spots, we screen it, and it's pretty much telling people that, dog, see what we did in your hood? See what you did in your hood? You can also do it. And we're here to show you it. This was a bigger plan. At Sneakers Exchange and screen it there at that event because they already have a crowd there. You know what I mean? So we're doing all these things, man. we're doing all these things, and on that tour we went by train. At the center of the highlight, we went by train. There was 4 of us. Musanza, Ukigi, who was that?
Ndarkie has never been on a train.
Yeah, I think it was just 4 of us. But yeah, that was the special moment because these are like friends coming together. Pretty much, some are selling their textbook money. Yeah, crazy. Some are selling textbook money to make the trip.
Shout out to those
you
hippies,
know,
man,
some going into their business accounts. You know, some are borrowing from their parents. Some are on the plane for the first time. Must be being a plane. So it's like,
shout out.
yo, man, it was like really like the switch from just being those kids to start doing it and fully investing ourselves in it, you know. So that then comes by documentary. It eventually becomes, you know, we get soft collabs with Puma. Some merch we did, we plan our own, then it becomes a community. Then we plan our first festival, then we have like 800 people. The second one becomes close to 3K people at Constitution Hill, just the youth, and this is the youth market now, and these elements now come together where there's streetwear at the center of it, and the plan was to have about 40 streetwear brands, but I ended up, I think, with 20 something, all at the same space, selling and conversing with each other. Then we have the musical elements, the guys that are alternative today, commercial tomorrow, they're there, and they've got their market, which is youth, which now believes in them because the rest don't know yet because they're not on TV. You got close to 3K of them. Got a young skate park there on the side with skaters, with the game element, you know. So these things now come together beautifully, and it becomes one of a community. But that community started really with those few people in a train and trying to spread it and to see it grow like that and involve corporate to a certain extent, involve a community and whatnot is dope. And that for me, like Let's Play Outside truly represents that.
So for me, that almost sounds like, that simply sounds, and not even almost, that simply sounds like a culture of collaborating, moving into a space which creates an economy, right? Which has created the young local economy, which is what I see your festival as facilitating in a kind of way. Maybe that's my interpretation of it, but I'd like to know what would your version be of you left Puma Social Club, right, after 7 months, right?
Puma Select.
Sorry, Puma Select. Would you be interesting to find out as to why you took that decision, but then to get to a position where you now have this almost like a movement set up? I'd also like to understand what's your vision for where you'd want to get something like that. You know, what's your understanding of a local economy, having been, because understand that some listeners would look at the position you're in and they think that, but you've made it. You know, some kids would like to be in that position where you're facilitating all these, you know, events, all these kind of things, but now it's almost like there's a passion. Shout out to that car, bro. That car doesn't care about what podcast is happening. Yeah, you know, he's got itch to do. So maybe do you get my question on that? You know, so moving from there to, I'd just like to understand. Yeah, you moving from that space, why you chose to take that move and facilitating this local economy that you seem to be building, or local creative economy that you seem to be building. There's obviously a drive and passion for that.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I'm in the development space, so, and right now it's concentrated on youth or youth cultures. It's understood and described. I left after 7 months because going in, I decided to take this as the opportunity with Puma as an internship for various reasons, right? But I knew that I'm not trying to create a career, one, with a brand with a brand, any brand. You know, I knew that like my mission, my calling would be to be on the ground. So working with them was dope because they were in touch with the ground. So I was fulfilling both sides, but working with more resources, more energy, bigger budgets, more people get more excited for them because it's a more familiar brand and it's been there for a while and it's international, and they bring international perspectives through the international collabs to the ground. Like we are a tribe, and street culture. So some brand that nobody knows, like for instance, Chinatown Market. Like who the fuck knows Chinatown Market, Lemzans? But a few people know it. When they bring it here, it's like, oh, they got your tribe and you're speaking to each other. So it was dope because it's on a concentrated level with more energy. And that taught me enough. That's why after 7 months I felt like, okay, now it's a repetition. I want to be part of bigger conversations. So my way out would be just to start that, you know. And that's why I left, and I did fulfill that mission of being a bigger conversation within Puma as well, and of course outside of Puma through what I do. And the second part of your question was
the vision, like what would be your vision of looking at the
okay,
know, your festival? What would be your vision of
So
a local economy?
I mean, we could have I could have learnt about business through like a structured way, you know, like worked for a certain company, just like I kind of worked with Puma, but I could have done it like, okay, tingi apply lana, ngishaye internship, kanjena. But I'd say I didn't know, and I was rejected by the few that I knew. But I knew that I just needed to do something. So RHTC as a store was dope, but to be honest, it was like 50%. I'm gonna do this until I get a job, and this is gonna facilitate me getting a job. But after a while, in this potential, I think I'm gonna kind of stick in this place for a while, you know. Then eventually we went from the online space that was a blog and not an online store to a proper online store. Went into the market space. I learned about the furniture. That it's whack. It's just tables or feet. And it's not doing justice for my product because I'm not doing thrift or accessories. So I create my own store. As designer, going out but to computer shy, marushangi vision because he just got the main concept that it should be mobile. Like it has to have wheels, or I must carry it easy. It must fit like a puzzle, and it must fit into a car. He got that. He had his own translation, his own design, pretty much.
So that's his approach to furniture.
He translates. He specializes in wood, so he translates your brief in his own artistic way. Should come swing lo muntu lo.
Sure.
Yabo. I shy. To extent my maskuto. I want to but you need to like real. Abasabhekanga ni impahla because bayibonile ukuthi this thing ihlangane within 5 minutes. Marikhrot. And iphume ebhuthini. And intsuyemu asayifuna lento le. Yabo ngibuyele shy mental note ngibuyele ku com mfethu sicala icompany sibize playground shy furniture, retail furniture, shama yama design. Okay, Stonze no Sansa futhi na join as the designer, you know. And now, like, you know, he's a creative director, so now he finds his passion within, you know, he's a set designer. He finds his passion within your furniture and constructing from any material. BC, this is the crew coming together. You see, Let's Play Outside tours says from Let's Play Outside. It's Nama talks called Let's Play Outside, which are based on finding a creative alternative towards your dreams. So we'd pick any topic, say music, Sland Osmic. Osmic went into music through a festival, and I fundelanga and Islandole. Ungening is a creative alternative, and that would be the theme throughout. So then eventually this becomes a festival and whatnot and whatnot. My point is this: my journey is about DIY. My journey is about growing your community.
The perfection of funk just kicked in. The messing up his audio. I'm sorry.
I totally understand. I'll start. You'll continue. So my journey is really about DIY. My journey is about how to start with something small and develop it over time. How to develop a team. And the vision ultimately is that there is a blueprint. I've done it for 7 years of how you can start with minimal budget and grow it into a big community, grow it to big youth economy where it's about the youth creating and the youth buying from each other. So this can be done by, I think, anyone, because there's a community everywhere. There's something for you to start and work with. No me tafula the market, no my blog yamahala. But there's something for you to start, and eventually your growth comes with you doing more. And that's it, and it's continuous. I've established myself because of 7 years or more of work, but still I feel like I'm in the new season too, where I have to learn more and how to further this. Stumbling, it looks like I'm losing most of what I've built, but it's just a new phase of it. And the bigger dream is for how my story and how I do things to resonate with more people, because I know it can, and for them to also start their journey and democratize the idea of just starting with what you have and building yourself. And I think anybody can do that. There's different obstacles and challenges, but basically my blueprint is not follow my steps, but follow the philosophy of it. And that's why I think, to answer your question earlier, it's like my story can be relatable on that level. Young Twan.
It's not exclusive.
Yeah, it's a human experience. It's not about business. It's about as I said, use these things as tools to fulfilling your calling. Speak with yourself first. Then these things are tools, and learn. And there's a journey within. There's research within the journey.
All right. We're going to go to a break, and then after that, I think, we go into the third act where we're going to touch on your podcast and the politics of money.
Why is the mood? Why is the mood so somber right now? so somber.
Yeah. Dropping some game, man.
Kill me. All right, like you just talked about. Someone said, all right, we're gonna go to nigga.
Are you serious? No, man, it's gonna drop some game.
So sad.
If you're still watching, you'll notice that the video has disappeared. Yeah, well, what can you do? So we lost some of the footage for a third of the video. But the episode was so hot that we decided to put up some of the audio. I think our guest Frypan had mad knowledge to pass on, and I think it was important for Finance for Hippies to give it to the people. So you can run it in the background. I'm sure the knowledge will sit there somewhere in your memory palace, and then you will retrieve it one day when you need a quick finance move.
That's a hot word, a memory palace. I've never heard such a phrase. It's a hot phrase. The episode was hot, guys. As you saw, the Black Label did what it did. It is also fitting, dog. It's the street episode, so we had to chop it up for the streets. But yeah, unfortunately, the last quarter of this interview is not recorded, but it was too sick to not put up the whole thing. So chill out and enjoy Teeth, Ndarkie, and our man's Frypan. Rest of the episode. Away.
Finance for Hippies, over and out.
It's the Almost Perfect Podcast. Hey, it's Bob Perfect here from the Almost Perfect Podcast, a celebration of fuck-ups, failures, and falling flat on your face. It is a podcast that believes you can learn from experience, but that experience doesn't have to be your own. So come join me every single Friday as I chat to a different creative type. But basically, we chat to various people in the creative industry about how they got to where they are. So if you're trying to get some tips and tricks, or you just like to know that, hey, there's someone out there who is doing it the same way you are, If you want to feel a little less alone in your creative journey, come check it out. It's almostperfect.co.za. Let's check out the next episode of Finance for Hippies.
Finance for Hippies is back. And we have no idea where we left off or what we were talking about. Frypan is still here and they're still kicking it.
Yeah. None of this is on video as well now, but you'll get a video. You'll get a video portion of what we recorded before. We'll edit it to make it hot still. Mr. FI Global, our video guy, had to bounce, but I think we were getting ready to just touch on Frypan's podcasting, man. You know, just podcasting as an avenue to promote his, or just to add to a lot of projects that he's been doing, and we wanted to kind of touch on that, and then eventually get into the politics of money and community, right?
For sure. Frypan, from one podcaster to another. How did you find podcasting?
Yo, man, that thing, I slipped into it, man. I was always interested in that, because I watch documentaries, right?
Yeah.
That means like I like information, and podcasts are like dope, because I remember the only form of like podcasting format type thing was talk on like Radio 702 on Sundays, where they'd like play someone's music and talk about them and their history. Not with them sometimes with them. But that was dope. I used to remember I liked that. The few times I caught it on Radio 702, like Sundays. Something not do more, something like that.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, man, she's dope. That was a weekend at a certain point, you know.
If you mention her, she needs
But
to cut
she's
us
like,
a check.
she's like, yo, man, jazz, like her understanding of jazz is like, yo, amazing, you know. But she used to break it down like that, and I remember back then for me, it's like what interested me. So I was like conversation space, and the first time Touch HD in 2018 hit me up. They had a new creative team, Ulele no Lolu, like that, like just like that, you know. And they were like a dope team. And what they decided to do is revamp that whole space and say, yes, it's about personalities, but there's these personalities that the commercial space doesn't know. Like the commercial space doesn't really know of, but they got a huge community. That means people are willing to listen to them, and the personality, those kids that went from like campus radio and were well trained, we're not cutting it anymore, but they're good, man. Those guys are good because they're well trained, you know, but they don't have the personality. No one knows them like that. It's not like back then when everybody used to listen to radio and you're famous. Nah, you know, I was like, yo, some people are famous from streetwear, so they hit me up, and Udi, some other Duri had his own show, I had my show, but we had culture podcast shows, you know. And I was like, they gave me this weird format. Well, I thought it was weird, like of how it's gonna go, you know. I was like, nah, throw this away, it's gonna be talk. They're like, talk? I'm like, yeah. We did the first few episodes, and you got like really dope streams, and you know, they're like, the online engagement is super. They're like, who the fuck are you guys actually? Because yeah, Twitter's going crazy. The streams and downloads, you know. And what we did, it was just simple. We took people on the ground who were respected, who were doing dope stuff, and we said, we're not gonna get you on radio so that we can have like a 30-minute segment with you, and you're gonna speak 3 times, 2 minutes, then 3 minutes. Nah, we're gonna have proper conversation like this, and that's just for podcasting as we understand it today. And put it there, it was a bigger platform on podcasting as well, behind a popular dude, well resourced, you know. So it got the mileage it needed through that. And that's when I also discovered that, damn, man, you know, I'm dope with conversation, and I may not be technically as dope, which I realized over time. I was like, okay, started training myself as well, you know. But it taught me the skill of radio, you know, and it also nurtured like a gift I have, which is speaking and engaging with people, you know. Then I just took advantage of that, and that's how the mayor's office, that's what it was called, the mayor's office, because, you know, I got this name, the mayor, in the streets as well, because at my store there was always like a community there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, oh shit, this is the mayor, you know.
Yeah.
Of I don't know if it's the youth or of Braamfontein or whatever, you know, you people as the mayor. So I mean, like the mayor's office, and at the end of the whole thing, I'd ask people, so if you were mayor, what would you be mayor of?
Yeah.
Then they'd say, you know, this their passion points, and that was just to say, "Spapaya, sama mayor." We all can lead as responsible people in office, not politicians per se, because mayors they play the political shit, especially in big metropolitans. But you know, traditionally, when you're a mayor, you're kind of an activist too, because you represent the people.
Yeah.
And you're within politics, but at heart you represent the people, and you're gonna politic about because everything's political. You're gonna politic getting justice for the people while developing your city, and also you have to hold on to power, whatever the case may be. But now it's like it's weird because it's full on politics in big metropolitans. But podcasting, that's how I started. That was the theme. But now I haven't done it like in that same format. What I do now is when I travel, I have a microphone that I attach, like a very small microphone. Marriage startup, shout out. I just, you know, I attach it to my phone and I have a conversation with people, like on the ground, and I take voice note. I record that on voice note, put it on app, put a still image behind, and it's a video podcast, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes average sometimes, conversation, put it on my RHTC. That's podcasting for me. At the heart of it, podcasting is about conversation, you know, facilitating conversation. People have artistic translations. You guys got a dope ass format. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Like everybody has their own format, and it's the great part of storytelling. Never in history has a book been taken out of a single library, maybe say 2,000 times in a day. But podcasts are the new books, it's the new library, and we're contributing like chapters of books, and they get like streamed and like at a democratic level like never before.
Frypan,
so podcasting is like the new library, man.
You're going too hard right now. That's on the trailer, bro. That's going too hard. That's going too hard.
Tiff, if you were a mayor, what would you be a mayor of?
Come on, Tiff. Let's hear it.
Do you really want to know, Jim?
The people want to know.
It's him thinking. It's him trying to think of something smart.
Who's been blessing them 2 seasons in a row. What is your passion? What would you want to be a mayor of?
This nigga's asking Teeth the big question. Before I get to formally answering that question, one thing I'd like to say, exactly. I've been in this game for a minute, so I know how to do that. I know
that's not how you did it. That's not how you do it. That's how you should have done it. If you were smart with it, it's like you should have said something like, "Doc, do you need to even ask?" Let's ask you. I'm gonna ask you what type of mayor. Am I daddy mayor to you or something? And that's you thinking that time.
It's fine. I'm a little off, man. This black label's getting the job done. So I blame them for that. But like, I think my first thing is, man, before I get into that, I think one thing I want to touch on, like with your podcast, I'll be honest with you, man. I think one thing I picked up, man, like you're really a good listener, man. You like. You know, I think I'm brilliant on the show, but Ndarkie is horrible at listening to guests and whatever, you know. But I know
that's not what the ladies say. The ladies say I'm like the greatest listener.
I know how hard that kind of is to be, and that's what one thing I really picked up, man. Which I was like, even there's an interview you did with Grey Spaces Matebula.
Yeah,
you know, and like. You're just like so good at like you know the podcasting in itself is not as easy.
Stop.
It's not as easy as we make it look. But I really yeah, man, wanted to kind of commend you on that, man, because with a lot of the interviews you were doing, you just let guys kind of get into it so well and you know touch on their stories, and these are, you know, people who kind of exist and they've got such interesting stories to tell, but we can make, like, we still obviously growing with our thing, but I thought you took onto that kind of thing quite well, man. If I was the mayor,
killed it, 10 out of 10. I give you that. That was dope.
The mayor, what would I do, man?
You still don't know, nigga?
The thing is, you won't like my answer though. My answer's not
go for
PC,
it.
nigga.
That's why I'm even
Nigga,
right now.
I don't want to be the mayor. So, like, listen, yeah, because the mayor's sitting here, I don't want to be the mayor. Don't ask me what I do if I was the mayor.
You're the mayor of I don't want to be a mayor.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's your portfolio.
I've never wanted to be the mayor, but also, if I'd be the mayor of a show, so actually, in a show where I stay, bro, there's this place where there's traffic lights. It's a 4-way crossing. The traffic lights always break, bro. The buses always crash into it. So they fix it after 4 months because of just how it's built up. That's
how the robots are all the time, man.
Hey, show in my car. No, listen, like, real talk though. Like, they've got this 4-way. Like, I swear to God, every 4 months there's traffic lights there. The way it's built, it's awkward, it's bad. It always, buses crash into it, or trucks crash into the light, and someone has to fix it.
What would you do to fix it?
All they need to do there is build a traffic circle. This thing has been happening for about probably 15 years. People die on that place, and in the area they believe it's in down like Itarati.
So why haven't Bangas build this?
If I was mayor, I'd build a traffic circle.
You're a citizen.
Yeah, so if I was mayor, I'd build a traffic circle in the show, and I would eliminate cars. Because if I was mayor, I'd only be mayor on the show.
Wait, you know what people in Soweto do?
Yeah.
Anyway, abantu i-karma speed and chase abantwana.
Sure.
Wafakitina, like on one side, so that you slow down. So on one side of the road, half of the road,
Sure.
So Mosa, you have to go the other way. So if there's another car incoming or any chance, it kind of slows down traffic.
Yeah.
But it tells people that it's dingy hump.
Bro.
They say the councillor eventually has to recognize that and has to pay for a hump. Hump is like, I think it's like 800 rands.
Yeah.
To create a hump. So the councillor has to raise that money to build a hump in Ikaslak. But that's how people do it. So if you as a citizen, bigger match all around, asinda you buy cement and make sure it's a permanent structure. It's a sign, it's a democratic sign to show your mayor or your councillor with you. This is what's needed. Go find money from whichever business is around and build this thing. And if valid, in actual fact, that is the cause of those accidents, then and it reduces, then you guys are right. About the suicide and they don't replace it with anything, you got the right to remove that dude from office.
Yo.
This leads us into the next topic, which is hood politics.
Hey, Maga, before I'm edited myself out, you know what you said about homies in the hood doing their own thing? Mlas and Vetu, they built their own hump and then they charge you to go over the hump. Coco 5 rand. Like say, there's a nigga with the spade standing there for Nimal, and he's gonna hit your car with the spade if you don't.
Yeah, in Zim they do that.
And then you jump out of your car, then all of a sudden, like 4 niggas just show up, and you can't beat them up. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Which hood is this?
Mlas in Vetu. But it was crazy when I saw it. They built it themselves. This is hump. It's the shittest hump ever. But you go over the hump, you pay a toll.
And they're probably closing a pothole for you. So it benefits you. But there's a criminal element
to that shit.
But in my hood, I also think there's a criminal element to that 4-way thing. Because I think those niggas probably keep switching the tenders around each other. They're like, when somebody crashes into those lights, I actually suggested that to somebody. I was like, you should actually take that solution to... Bro, all that needs to be done... People have died at that place. All that needs to be done is a traffic circle needs to be built. But it's like, bro, this guy who told me his flight, he's like, bro, Abandula, like Batarat. People are going to kill you for that. Because this is obviously like a money scam thing where people are making money off this thing. It's like, okay, it's going to crash after 4 months. Then we're going to tender to put the traffic light. It's your turn. Then we're going to tender to it's your turn. There's no way that thing has been happening for like 15 years. People keep dying there. The lights don't work. 4 months later, it's never lasted for like more than 3 months. A traffic circle will solve everything. But then, lives will be saved, but money will be lost.
Yeah, ukuthakatha kwamampela ke lo. Ngiyakubona ukuthi le bazokuthakatha. The fact that lives are being lost, that's the highest level of ukuthakatha.
Yeah, people believe there's like Satanism. Yo, now I'm gonna get you to real hood politics in the room.
Yeah, that's
Let's focus on the bag right now.
Let's go, bro.
All right, cool. So Ndarkie, you were talking about hood politics, man. We were talking about politics of money and community.
Every episode we mentioned a set of people, a group of people that are hindering us hippies to getting the check. They're called the gatekeepers. How have you managed to politically maneuver around the gatekeepers from the back?
I mean, gatekeepers are dope and they're bad at the same time. Sometimes, you know, as a person, you feel entitled to the things that will get you where you think you're supposed to go or where you are supposed to go. And some people are going to say, are you not ready? It's about, you know, this is because you're more talented than them. And so, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're not right. Sometimes gatekeepers are there to like guide you to get into places when you're actually prepared, or to go back to gym and, you know, get your shit straight, because there's nothing as whack as getting an opportunity but you're not ready for it. That's mad whack, man. You're gonna feel like an asshole, you know.
Than ever.
But that's because you're so focused on the idea of success and not the process. A lot of gatekeepers save us from that,
100%.
whether their intentions are good or bad. But yeah, so the gatekeepers can be good, can be fair as well. Sometimes, not all the time. I can't tell you when and how. You know, situations differ. However, how you go around that is try find alternative ways, because the unfortunate part is that the space that we live in, be it Joburg or urban spaces where capitalism thrives at a higher level, is that there's an illusion that there's not enough room for everyone, you know. So people will push you for you to come in, because they're like, shit, this kid is coming in with some fresh ideas. I ain't thinking this, you know. Some dude, maybe you have some dude that's older than me right now in the show and he's talking technical. Nobody listens to him, and I'm not even talking anything technical on finance for hippies, but my shit resonates with more people because it's a human story, and it understands that tools are just not what you should concentrate on, but, you know, something much more significant. And then you learn the operative elements of how to use these tools. Be like, fuck this nigga, you know. If you have a better perspective, whatever, it comes with being talented or not sometimes. But my thing is, like, it always gives you a chance to go back, see if there's an alternative route. The alternative route actually may be where the innovation is, because the alternative route may be cheaper, it may be unconventional, maybe what people need, because you're not the only one trying to solve that problem. Oftentimes people get their actual product by trying to solve a problem that they faced when they were doing their first venture. Then it offers more perspective and opportunity, and you know what I mean?
Then you realize actually what the real problem is.
Yeah, because you're learning as an entrepreneur. The first problem you're trying to solve may not be the problem that you need to actually
you
solve.
start seeing
It's the journey. It allows you. Takes
like, why do I keep running into this problem?
Yeah.
Like, this is actually what needs to be solved, not
what the
I'm
byproduct of it. Yeah, well,
100%. Yeah.
So you know, for me, that's how I'd recommend people go around gatekeepers, because the gatekeeper so oftentimes is the guy that reached the peak of the existing formula.
And
the existing formula is going to expire eventually. And if bona because, you know, younger people are there to offer you an opportunity, or new people, it's not necessarily younger people, new people in the industry, they offer you an alternative solution that is not popular now, may not be the most financially best or most profitable way, but it may be in a couple of seasons. So you know, there's a give and take with gatekeepers as good people, bad, and I think it's always finding a creative alternative around and a problem around gatekeepers too. But they fucked up too, because there are times in real life they are the buffer between you making it at the level you want to. But budget that can change your life because you can afford new machinery, new whatnot, you know what I mean? And they become a deterrent. It's hurtful when it gets to that point. And it's unfortunate. But then again, such is life, you know? We're not safe.
So Frypan, I'd just like then to know within these politics, what are your thoughts though on just financial education within the arts? You know, a lot of kids, you know, if you touch base with a lot of kids, either creating, making certain kind of art, a lot of kids are attracted to the dream. But what are just your thoughts on what existing platforms to educate young creatives in the culture about just about how to handle their money, G? You know, just about how to everyone knows that I want to collaborate with Puma or Nike, but no one's talking about like what does that mean about the bag. What are your thoughts on that?
So you know, I think it's a very human thing, you know? We all play to our strengths and we concentrate on that. Mostly diski. I'm short.
Sure.
So fun improve the short yakho.
Sure.
Defense usayibhekanga.
Yeah.
Kanti to be a good player you must have like at least relatively good overall structure.
Yeah.
And maybe specialize in a certain space. But if you can kick with both foot, you can dribble, got a tactical mind.
And dexterous.
You can defend, but you're best with like...
T-Swag I was an 11.
11. I'm not, you old school, now you're still naming positions by numbers.
Yeah.
11,
this guy went to standard, he was still in standard 7. When he finished matric at standard 10.
Abo form 1, form 2, you know? Form 1, form 2. So,
continue, yeah.
So we play to our strengths, and I think that's the biggest shortfall. Even myself, I know it. I've fallen victim. I still fall victim to this as well. To playing to my strengths. So a lot of people in the creative space are creative thinkers.
Yeah.
So they lean more to the branding side.
Yeah.
Where they are able to really good at making things look beautiful. Making brands look. It's aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's a marketing.
Yeah.
It's into
yeah.
Like that's undeniable.
Yeah.
So that's your strongest thing, and that's ego based as well. But where you fall short of jumpisela. Fine, abazali bethu sometimes bangayazi into but ungazongitshela wena.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, you don't want to be educated.
Yeah.
And creative people, a lot of us creative people tend to do that when it comes to finance. We neglect it because it's not our strength.
Yeah.
And therefore we want to dump down the money and say,
I
ain't doing this for the money.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up and learn about money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. So I think it's a ego death thing first and foremost. Kill that ego. Consult on every decision, even if it's from a younger person, from a woman, because a lot of us deem women weak, or younger people weaker, or like less intelligent, whatever.
Ego, as you said.
It's ego. Kill that ego and uyobuza uthi bafethu mangikhothi kanje ngikhothi right.
Sure.
You know, I still do that because I'm solving different problems every time. So I need to know if I'm quoting right. Is it below, above industry rates? You know, and just understand the science behind the finance. Yeah. Because, you know, if someone says some dope, it's like, you know, they call your financials books. Yeah. Because it's a story. It tells you it's so when you understand the numbers like a book. Yeah. And you add your own creative input into it. That's why I shouldn't even text when creative. You know what I mean? Sure. So my thing is, it's a matter of learning finances the same way you learned about the creative. Love it. Yeah. Bora. That's what they say. but if your numbers are looking good, you like looking at your numbers. Just like you like looking at your bank account when it's thick, right? When it's got extra digits, you're gonna like your finances. I'm in the journey as well, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way, is that we should all be open to, one, kill that ego. Secondly, try be patient with financing and learning about small things like tax and whatnot.
Yeah.
How to quote.
Yeah.
How to quote is a continuous thing.
Yeah.
It's a continuous thing, you know. And why quoting certain ways, what certain numbers mean, what type of investments you should make, and for what reason. And all in all, I think when we start approaching finances like that, we'll become one of the richest people, and richest in our economy, and also it allows you to make better product when you got the money too. So yeah, the administration is important, man.
Finance for Hippies preaches prosperity. The anointing of money is coming to you. All you have to do is listen to all seasons of Finance for Hippies.
Every single episode.
The blessing will come through to you.
Exactly.
I, the one, Ndarkie,
Done, Salamanca.
will bring the blessings of money to your doorsteps. All you have to do is click that like button and subscribe. You will see it flowing. The commas will increase from none to 3, 3 to 5, and you know it's all through the workings of Finance for Hippies.
Exactly. Outside of the dumb crap you just said.
Yeah, no,
I really
if you had that spirit on your intro, man, we could have been far right now.
We'd be very far back.
Yeah, that was hard.
Look, man, but I mean, yeah, you know, I definitely think we touch on this a lot, and I guess it is always interesting to kind of see how many existing platforms there are out there. You know, a lot of us, there's still that space where a lot of us feel alone when it comes to understanding those things. And you know, who do you ask for those things in terms of quoting and figuring out how to balance yourself, like financially. But I kind of agree with that sentiment of yours. I think a lot of it has to do with creatives and our ego, you know, because you focus a lot on what you're good at, but like guys don't wanna. I guess what hurts for me a lot is, you know, there's a lot of guys out there who are just simply broke. You know, there's legends who are broke. There's young kids who are doing things, but like they are broke. You know, there's not many artists diversifying their portfolios, and you know, and it's interesting to see how to figure out how to drive those conversations as well within our culture, man. You know, because you know, we've just got some amazing kids. We've got amazing ideas. I just like, yeah, it's just interesting for me. I get to see your perspective on that, and kind of, I just simply agree with the idea of the ego is a lot, man. And I guess within creativity, the ego has a lot to do with defining you. But to get your money right, it's like you gotta break that. We did an episode on tax, you know, and for me that was like incredibly uncomfortable to prepare for, you know. But for Ndarkie, I don't even think he like read on the person we were interviewing, but he was like, you know, this is his space, you know, those kind of things, you know. For me, it was like, it was almost like
it's very cringing, ne?
It's cringing, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to be fully aware. And
no more than you are about learning.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's like now I need to kind of expose what type of my Texas actually, like he educated. I come on my Texas, you know, regularly outside of the person who, helps with that issue.
But wait, I think because you know we're in a creative space, we think it's a creative problem. No, it's a social problem.
Okay.
Just generally, people are not handling their finances well.
Yeah.
In life, and
they don't know where to go as well.
Yeah, because there's no culture. Ngisho manje uyabona thina abantu abadala bathi mongana sikoloto ngikuba nix.
Sure.
And I get where that comes from, because maybe angaholi enough with baba amasofa, so kumele bawathathe nge-account. Mahola ukudla kuphela. yabo.
Sure.
And you can only fucking installment is 200 a month. Then obvious mfana uyokuthola sofa yenye indaba yabo.
Sure.
So but it's better understanding what's the thinking behind that and where we should be going to have more and see where they fell short, yabo. But for me it's like it's one of those things like it's a social problem and sihlala singanamali sinemali.
Sure.
If that makes sense. Khola mara uhlala unganamali. Umuntu ahole aqala nge-5,000.
Sure.
A big grand after a year cool enough. I hustle, maybe I told you span at 10, 15. Eventually you're still on 20k, but you're suddenly stress more now, so more than 5k.
Sure.
And
you
because
still, it's like you're still broke.
Yeah, more hola manje. After a week or something, a couple of days, I might do it or a double. Why? Lifestyle
Sure.
But at the basis of it, which is our scale is about finance, I knew we save orange, and you save in orange. Ikuthengwa izinto ezikanje mofuna inyuku mofuna ukulahlekelwa inyuku kanje nesikhuluma ngayo nohlakanipho but I don't know if I can share this, man. Is it cool about girls? It's like, yo, girls, if you want to be about dating multiple girls and having fun with girls, you gotta have money. And it's quite mean. Kuna mama habit kwamile wabulala. Just telling you about my baba real quick. My baba's from Cameroon. He was in the oil business.
Man.
Right, but not big time, like Justin G. Yabon, Lokshin. Lokshin as oil relationship oil, you know, my country different.
Ndarkie type of
right. Yeah, well, like we susala ibegala. If you're a dude in the streets, you can move it. Jingimpupu in some other Mpupu in Kenya or Tanzania.
Ndarkie is listening very clearly.
Yeah, no, it's taking care.
He wants to find out where your barber is. Okay.
Young tall, but he's in the oil business. He sees these big guys. These guys have made it, man. They on another level. Ubuza loyo wana. They were fit mina mfethu ngifuna ngezinyuku mina njengawo. My, what's your secret? La uthi ufuna wazi. It is sure. Athi okay yazingihlangana nami ngesikhathi esikanje ilangelo kanje. Hayi vele bahlangana. Athi okay ngizokisa kumuntu kanje. And umuntu lo mangisa kuye angisazi ngini mina. Amisi and umuntu amisa kuyisango. Sango must team fan okay yazini. Let's put it straight. I'm not going to bullshit you. Mina angeke ngikwenzele imali. That's not what I do. But I can protect your money. Ato onkai note ira onkai note inyo akhiphe yakhe ibeke phansi. Right? Abaxoxa akufika umoya. Hamba inyuku kantwana kushike isango phansi hlezi. And it's like, and then athi uyabona ukuthi kenzakalini. Shothi manje khona imimoya ngapha ngaphandle. Le moya le umoya unnatural bese khona nomoya othunyelwa abantu. And umoya othunyelwa abantu ukuthi uzothatha inyuku yabanye abantu. So if your money is not protected, it's going to move with other people. You know, but I took that symbolically too. To like, if you want to have money and you have the skill and potential to make more money because of your talent, first it doesn't start with you making that. It starts with you protecting what you already have. Meaning, what asset more buyer are you buying something that's going to take more of your money? Because those are the spirits that take more of your money. The car you buy, the type of car you buy takes away a certain level because it's going to attract a certain type of girls, if that's what you're into. A lifestyle, drinks. Angithola uhlale mfethu uma S3 lapha ya uphuzana ni 1 liter lapha ya. I made it 20 more something. I don't know what people are into, but you know what I mean? So that's a spirit on its own. So you must be careful, you know, what you use your existing money with, be it the food you eat, what you buy, where it puts you. Does it make you spend more money, or does it bring you a bit of more money? Does it save you money, or does it bring you money? So it's all about using what you already have and protecting it, and that's gonna help you make more money. And that was the story from him, and I was like, that's my translation of it. I was like, protect your money and you will make more money.
100%, man. And I think
what I was gonna say is yet more than anything, we're on 34 seconds, but I think all the stuff we're now getting into is golden. So we will continue. All right, you guys are cool.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will continue. You can ask your question you wanted to ask. Another thing, what I was going to say is that I've noticed as us as artists, as people that are making money, nobody wants to admit to say, I don't know what to do.
Bars.
Nobody.
Bars.
You should put that in, man.
I'm going to edit myself out, but I'm just saying. Like that.
Nigga,
So
edit
you can
yourself
start.
in. It's
So you
our
can start.
show. Yeah, okay, maybe you can.
While Ndarkie was relaxing on his couch, after a long day, he looks at Facebook and there's a post there of a famous artist that we all know from a very legendary group, saying that no one told him about taxes and whether he had to pay taxes.
Is that true though? Is that a headline? I thought it was just a headline just to attract us. But did he really say that?
He
was right.
Yes, he did say that, but the headline was clickbait. He was saying his opinion like 4 or 5 years ago. So he wasn't saying it's a state now, but he was saying that was him like 5-6 years ago or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
But 5-6 years ago was 2015.
He was still hot. He was still well into
You would
the
have
peak of
expected
his.
more.
He was well past the peak of his career.
Yeah.
So Ndarkie, please continue with your question, man.
So I was shocked to see that such fundamental and basics are lacking with the art industry.
From top tier guys.
So Ndarkie started forming an opinion that it's like that because it's supposed to be like that. They have designed the system not to empower the person with the highest value. Why would I empower the artist? That means he will keep more of the value and I cannot extract it from him. So what we're doing is the Lord's work.
I hate you for this, man.
We are now moving value and placing it to where it belongs. The rightful owner, the person who put in the work to create the value, he must keep that significant portion of that value.
Imani Lotu, can you do this? I'm sorry. We're not going to say it's a break.
You're gonna.
Gentlemen, you guys can proceed.
Okay.
As you are, just a general discussion now, right? So you guys have wrapped up the questions. If you want to wrap up, just say it's okay. Thank you so much, and then we can go in convo.
Cool.
Do something to make it easier for me to edit.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you were talking about
what we're providing to the people.
Yeah.
What Finance for Hippies is really honing in. We didn't just pull this out of our ass. Well, Teeth did, and then I really corrected. We are focused on a specific point, specifically addressing a gap, a deficiency in the system, in that the system is designed to churn out these incredible creatives, impressing us continuously with their innovations and new ideas. But what it specifically and intentionally does not do is empower them in the other parts which are critical for them to continue providing value.
Yeah.
Which is a damn shame.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand large institutions that offer art courses, that offer, creative space learning, do not highlight financial literacy as they should. But they do it, they ignore it despite the numerous evidence of people, getting into problems with the taxman, every artist. I mean, if you were to ask me where Pitch Black Afro is right now.
Yeah.
Isn't he in prison? Okay, anyway, carry on.
But Pitch Black Afro was the hottest.
Yeah.
There was a line where he said, sliding like butter, like a hot knife through butter. That was the hottest shit.
Yeah.
But Pitch, is not in a good place right now. And if it happened to Pitch, it will happen to you, most likely. If you don't listen to this episode towards the end.
Then he makes it a plug. I know. But yeah, man, look, I think we have a hope and a vision of there's guys who are doing well, but it's almost like the information or the conversation we feel is not there in our space. and it would be interesting if there was more conversation even around this, because conversation usually is the lead to action on certain things. Would I don't know, would you have a hypothesis on what avoids that? You know, we see guys who are doing well, you know, well, they project like they're doing really well. You know, a guy, just an example, you know, Maporisa's the hot guy right now, you know, him and who's his partner?
Teeth.
Yeah, him and Teeth. Yeah.
Comes out small.
Comes out small. But you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of these guys who've done so much, and if you look at hip-hop culture, which obviously interests us a lot more, but you never, you know, maybe those are the things we are interested in as well, but I'm not sure how realistic it is where you've got, you know, even a guy like Cool Cat, he moves so interestingly, but he knows what he's doing. He knows how he's building value. He knows how he's monetizing it, but we don't have a lot of, how do we collectively, whether it's once, you know, there'll be things like a design in Daba, which is dope, which is fresh, you know what I'm saying? But if I'm in the, you know, my mindset look shading, or in the rural areas, you know, and I'm watching design in Daba, it's dope, it inspires me to dream, you know, but it's crazy how there's no finance within the creative sector thing going on that just says, okay, let's meet, let's get guys to talk about just the creativity and the finance, you know. I don't know, man. What would your perspective be on that? Is that a need? Is that like ridiculous? That's just not going to happen? Because, you know, it hurts to see guys who are talented and...
Yeah. I mean, I see it in two ways. At the basis of it is, it's a social problem. Kalimakaya.
Sure.
You know, a lot of problems start home, a lot of these challenges and benefits and opportunities start at home, where just at home people need to be transparent and need to be vulnerable. Our parents, we never knew how much. I don't think any of us still know how much our parents are paid.
Yeah.
Sibona izinto nje sezifika nje.
Yeah.
True. We are ulama furniture store ngisho.
Ndarkie
TV endlini. There's TV endlini kunama sofa.
Sure.
Front loans, sell his house, make money from our parents.
Room dividers.
Yeah.
And sorry to interject, you know, to digress to what you had said earlier on, one thing you must realize is that the culture of apartheid was to get most black people in debt. So that's why our parents today are telling us, Fanubene Squelete.
Yeah.
They pushed that on us because back then, if you got married with your wife, you guys can afford to buy things on credit.
Yeah.
Not buy things. Yeah. Buy things on credit. You can't. Buy, you can buy a house now. You can open an account now.
Yeah.
But you guys are a married couple, and you're putting that family in debt. That's
joint debt.
Yeah, that was the vision for the apartheid government. And a lot of people didn't see that. They thought it was mashata si on. No.
Yeah.
You're actually putting yourself in a situation.
Yeah. And yeah.
No, can you about finish?
Let me digress a bit. Room dividers. What the most brilliant idea ever conceived. Room dividers was the hottest product that rocked from the 80s up until the mid-90s. Everyone had it. I don't know who was the biggest room divider maker. I know Ellerins was rocking it. Joshua Doe was rocking it. You put the plates and dinner sets that were never used. You were never hot in the black culture if you didn't have a room divider.
Yeah.
You'd squeeze it in anyway, even if it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Shout out to the room dividers. They're making a comeback. Finance for Hippies releasing a all-wood room divider
in collaboration with
Let's play
outside.
I fuck with that, yo.
Yeah. So as you said.
I think it starts there where, firstly, there needs to be a level of transparency and vulnerability in speaking about finances
in the family,
within the family structure, because you know, in the capitalist world, your money is your just a worth as a human. So we need to kill that first. That's the ego death. Just because soyasebenza wena so think rosar la endlini sozongena ngesikhathi sakho.
Sure.
And that's it.
Sure.
Yeah, because you taught us that. Because our fathers came in, and because they were the biggest earners, unesitulo sakho, une plate lakho, une nyama yakho, une PC yakho nyama, You said if you give money, you told me that if you get money, I'm the man.
Yeah.
And you told me not to tell you how much I earn.
Yeah.
As well, you know, even though niggas always tell their women how much they earn.
Yeah.
Or they find a way. But my point is, there needs to be a place of vulnerable and honest conversations about money, starting from the home structure. And Twitter is not those spaces, even though there's an opportunity there, but there's too much ego-based conversation. Social media is very ego-based. It's the highlights, show reels of the best times of our lives, and not even the sad times. They're kind of romanticized under some hashtags as well. So there's no reality and honesty within it as well, or very little, if any. But I think it's just peer-to-peer conversations that need to happen, because that's where we are right now, you know. Let's have honest peer-to-peer. Some of it just blew me. We need to have real conversations.
Sure.
And I wish we ngithenge ibi.
Sure.
Usho uthi angasinkwe endlini.
Sure.
Ngithola. Yeah, repeat manje, but 2 weeks ago.
Boss.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, budget is 5.
Sure.
Which is a reality for a lot of people, young and old. Yeah, so as soon as we have those conversations and we learn from them, I would say from a hard place with when I'm saying to him, funda from that, you know.
Sure.
So I think we need an honest conversation starting from the household, on the streets as peers, which is and then that follows with ego death, sometimes doing things that you think you're above, you know.
Sure.
Like hustle bayisele into kufuneka uyibhayise mfana, just ukuthi uthole airtime, just ukuthi ukhwele uye down for a meeting or respana, walk at a door at a club, do things that will kill your ego and make you look like kenzakalani ngosimphiwe bafethu. You know, it's like this nigga was going around, was out there with PCs now. All those girls used to be groovy with now see you at like weird spaces, but that doesn't really matter because, you know, you're doing what you can. So I think we need to be vulnerable. We need to be honest within ourselves first, then with our peers. And at the heart of it, it's that listen to face. You can think of food while I'm shabby.
Sure.
Young tall. Finances are not don't live in isolation from everything else. The same way you learnt about religion, about God, about a sport, about certain players, about their profiles, about certain girls, about certain things that really interest you and make you excited, is the same way you can learn about finances.
Bars.
I'm going to cut myself out, don't answer this. What I was going to say is that, you know, our biggest problem as homies, as peers, when we tell each other things, is something I was saying at work about men's clinic. We were trying to sell to men's clinic to advertise with us. All over, the biggest thing is with being honest with our peers. Me saying to Ndarkie, I ain't have money for like the last few months, this and this and this happened. It's all good to tell you this, but then later on you could use that against me just to get on my case. We rag on each other. All of a sudden, so when I fry pen on mad.
Yeah.
But I was telling you that with the honesty of we homies, and I want to tell you my real situation. All of a sudden, 3 months later, every chance you get,
you gotta remind the
nigga. No, even when I'm back on, now it's like they use it against me. It's the same thing I was saying about the men's clinic thing. I was like, the biggest issue with niggas in men's clinic, we can't. This is not a welcome thing, because if I had to tell the homies to say, let's just say it was that, niggas will be sympathetic at the moment. 2 months later,
I went to the men's clinic.
Yeah.
I felt some shit on my balls, right?
I'm sorry.
I was like, nah, dog.
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna have these what cancer checking this shit out.
Yeah.
So I don't know where to go. I go to the men's clinic.
Yeah.
I get there. No, like pill. They came to take their pills because you know.
Yeah. T-Tech has a deep history with the men's clinic.
Get the subscription.
Hey, dog, I've had I've been in the hospital
online
twice,
subscription, man. They even deliver. Yeah. So as homie, this guy, Malici, ufunani wena la. Futhi nami nginkinga zami nami. Athi indawo zethu sindawo abalingana nani le. I don't know why he said that. But it's not encouraged, dog. And what if I really had some cancer?
Shit. So are you now saying that with there's money it's almost like the same kind of thing?
That's why I'm like, this thing is everywhere. It's like we have these universal conversations in isolation, and it's secret, and but I mean, Hlanipa did say it's the construction of apartheid, but under that it's capitalism.
Yeah,
it says, when you work for the same company, because they already not being consistent amongst you guys who are doing the same job. Why people are getting paid more? Certain black people who speak a certain way or who get along with white people and their culture get paid more than the other. Also, look, she no ngacavis ngamla grandi, yapaiseka bamkai raise or the 13th check is not as
Yeah.
So these things are capitalist based, and capitalism is not our friends, especially if you're in the lower sector of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even at a high, it hits you in a different way too. But Crenshaw, without exceptions, show a system. Like you did say, it is about keeping the information away from the ones that are the labor markets, the majority, so that whatever means of production benefit the elite.
Yeah,
it's just the construction of capitalism as it stands. However, it's evolving because innovation comes right now. Everybody says this comes from those who democratize capability. Uber, they creating more jobs than the traditional sectors. Airbnb, so right now it's like the internet is at the center of facilitating that interaction. But sure. Now capitalism is taking another fashion. It's another phase of it. It has some sort of social element into it, even though there's the top guy who's still the main beneficiary. But at least if an industrial revolution where people could go into cities and start earning and becoming themselves and independent of the system where you ruled by kings and queens, chiefs. Because there, when you're from a broke family, you're gonna die broke. There, when you're from a noble family,
imperial systems.
Imperial systems. So Lapo is like your destiny is set without merit. Industrial revolution broke the layer of that. Now this is called so-called fourth industrial revolution. It's breaking another barrier of that. Then now it's going to be fixed and it's going to be fucked up. Then it breaks another revolution.
What I can gather from this conversation, part of this conversation, is that if you have erectile dysfunction, do not tell Funk. He will laugh in your face, nigga, in your face.
Stop it. Okay, so what you gonna do? What you gonna do for me now? Wrap. No. Yeah. Wrap up the actual podcast. I will make an edit of offline convo that we can put as a bonus.
Sure.
Because I realized I want to separate what we just talked about from the whole podcast. Okay. So wrap up. I'll compare it to the previous stuff. So maybe if you've got one more question that relates to what we were doing as a whole, and then Nivale, and then we can continue this. I got more space to just keep recording.
Okay. All right. Frypan. I think it's been deep, man. I think we've had a lot of really like dope ass convo, man. This has just gone as good, if not as better than I thought. One more question each. I think Ndarkie, aka Untwela Boy, dressed in his Mpumelelo. You can lead and then I'll wrap off the show. If you got one more question for Mr. Frypan who's hosted us here, what would you like to ask?
The future. what does the future hold for the frying egg pan?
Yeah, this guy just gave me that
Frying egg.
the general question.
He's literally giving you the worst. I'm so disappointed in him.
that was disappointing.
Would you like another shot at this? Would you like another shot at this? Because that was horrific. That was like the future.
Let's give this guy another chance, man.
No, can you give me another chance?
This is what we always ask them.
No, he's talked about the future. He's talked about
Not that I've been talked about it or not. It's just that
trying to.
I
come on, bro.
you can be more creative than
You're
that.
better than thank you, Frypan.
I was so silly, Matunzi, dog. Come on, dog.
Dugu.
Dog.
All right,
Do better than that.
All right.
Let's give homie a chance.
Okay, done.
Give him a
Got
chance.
one more shot.
Give him a chance.
Same question. Let me rephrase it now. I need to channel the inner Dosto in me.
Thank you for that, Frypan. All right.
Let's give him a chance. Teeth, why don't you go in first, dog?
No, I'm drawing a blank.
Chitala.
All right, cool, man. This was actually quite a. It caused a lot of conversation before this episode, but I'd pretty much like you to define black culture versus street culture, right? Is that the same thing? Do you consider it the same thing? And maybe give a perspective on that, because I've heard you speak on that before, and we had like a hectic debate before this podcast about that, where we got into challenges of exportability because of defining certain cultures in a certain way. But black culture versus street culture, like, what is that the same thing, or what's your outlook on that?
The black culture has become synonymous to street culture by virtue of the best contributors and the most significant contributors to street culture being black anywhere in the world. And that starts from a long time ago, because what you're looking at is throughout the world there is something called the black condition, and it's based on the same thing, which is white domination. Those who went under slavery, as the center of it was white domination. Apartheid or colonial systems were all about white domination, and what they took is economic power at the center, and it was facilitated through social and political. You can take away money from somebody, but they have other coping mechanisms. Music has been a coping mechanism for slaves within the slave ships, being at sea for months. What kept your body dies because those conditions were not fertile just to keep life and maintain life, even of those who were capturing the slaves and shipping them, So the only thing that kept you up
on them too
was music, It's cotton farms. Music is at the center of them working and sending messages to each other. In the context of the States, it would go down to the slave abolition and of great migration to the north, which then came to form the Harlem Renaissance. Music is at the center of it, but it's also rebellious in its own right through its form, its new form. It's unconventional and unstructured compared to your classic music and whatnot. It breaks all the rules. The messaging also breaks all the rules because it speaks about the politics. It's largely political. The blues inform jazz. Jazz then informs hip-hop because of the samples being taken from jazz records, and the form and the same demeanor of fighting against the system takes form in the form of hip-hop. Same in every way in the world. Same in Europe with the black community in Europe, African community all around this continent, how Fela Kuti is important, not only as a musician, but as an activist who translates. But his music, its length is rebellious. It's a 12-minute song. It says fuck radio in essence. It was podcast of that day. That is a long time. He's like a futurist in a way through music. And he breaks all the rules. And that is street culture. And you find that at the center of it, I just used music as an element of street culture to show you that black are artistically reacting. The African people anywhere in the world suffered from white domination, and at the heart of their survival was an artistic reaction to that economic exclusion and oppression. And that informs what street culture is largely based on, which is those who are the majorities who are kept out of the system but find creative ways of finding a way in through different elements and tools and subcultures, which is called street culture. So those who've used it to survive for most of modern history have been black people. And it goes to say that, yes, it's not synonymous, it's not only practiced or resonates with black people, but we're the ones that have been leading it, living it, and has become our culture for most of modern history. And others come in because of an existing reality that is shared amongst us as existing oppression and pain. There are Afrikaner kids who are practicing street culture in poor communities like Western area. We've become a tribe, but it must be known that we've been struggling for longer than them, and we know how to do this. That's why these motherfuckers don't even know how to they don't know how to protest in South Africa. They look like jokes because we've been doing this shit for a while. We've mastered it. The theatrics, when black people loot and whatnot, it's fucked up. But my nigga, it's theatrics. It gets lost in context at a lot of places nowadays. But if I smash a robot and I inconvenience some elite nigga who's going to a meeting and he happens to know the mayor and have him on speed dial, my message will be transferred through that nigga. So I gotta break his fucking resources.
You got your message through.
You know what I mean? To say, yo, talk to the mayor, nigga, because you're a money nigga. He doesn't care about us. He doesn't give us his numbers.
But you're gonna talk to him.
That street culture on that level. So it's part of our lives. So yes, street culture is largely informed and driven, and is synonymous to black culture anywhere in the world, or most parts of the world. And everybody else definitely can be part of the same tribe. And be as dope of a contributor
for sure
as everybody else. But the majority of us have no choice but to fall into street culture as a survival tool.
Ndarkie, you've got a second go at this. We can wrap it up. I think I did the show justice.
Will proceed to wrap the show up. The question didn't go so well. I will not embarrass myself.
Okay, let me answer your question. The future is, I don't know. I'm in my path of, I know what my calling is, I know what my talent is. I still have to grow. I still have to relearn the things I know and update my knowledge and do it better. How it's gonna look like, I don't know. Where it's gonna happen, I'm not really sure. It involves more people, definitely yes. At the center of it is that, and it's about development. That's it.
Ndarkie, wrap up the show. Frypan, I'd just like to formally apologize for Ndakie's shocking last question.
It's dope, man. It's just, I just think he could have phrased it.
Nah, he'll get back to it. We'll have a formal apology in the following episode.
Please put it on Twitter.
He was a bit off.
Finance for Hippies is the full package. If you went through season 1, you'd realize that everything is put together perfectly. From the aesthetics, to the recording locations, to the music curated by C-Funk, to the narrations and the translations done by Teeth Swag. We are a full product, and today we do not disappoint. For street culture, we went to the streets. We came to the streets, we enjoyed the beverages that have been supporting the streets for many years. We enjoyed the food that the people in the streets have been eating. We fought with the people for that food.
We were in the war, man. We were in the trenches today,
This
man.
is finance for hippies. This is what we do. We do not broadcast this from a place we don't know in the north. When we talk about something, we talk about it head on in the middle of it. You can trust on Finance for Hippies to be the source of legitimate education around certain topics that are bothering our artists out there. I close off by sending a formal apology to Frypan for messing up that last question. I sincerely apologize to the mayor and those who are offended. Finance for Hippies would like to apologize. Over and out.
Peace, man. Thanks, Frypan, Mayor. Peace, man. Nice one, guys, man. See you next episode. Yo.